We've found 10 Premier League players' FPL teams for Game Week 1. We're going to have a look at them in order from worst to best, and we're going to see how they're set for next week. So first up, the brilliantly named winner team from Elneny. I love the team name. You can tell he was panicking, didn't know what to do, and he just called it winner team, as he can only dream Arsenal will be this season. And what I love here is he has stayed loyal to Arsenal. He has the triple up. He is Gabriel, Martinelli, and Jesus captain for Game Week 1, who unfortunately let him down. But I have to say, I love the self-awareness not to select himself here. Koulibaly and James, the double up from Chelsea. And what's really let down his score is going for Van Dijk and Alisson and Luis Diaz, as opposed to the more common Trent, Robbo, and Salah. Now, albeit it wouldn't have paid off too much in Game Week 1 apart from Salah, who scored 12 points, but still, it does seem a bit of a weird setup. What's even more shocking is that he has 6.5 million Adams third on bench, 6.5 million Rashford on the bench. Dunk at 4.5 is okay, I suppose, but it could still be a Nico Williams, and Pope coming in on the bench at 5 million when you have Alisson in your team. There's 5.5 million on that bench that doesn't need to be. Luis Diaz could easily have been Salah, and he would have shot a respectable 62 points, 5 above average as opposed to 5 below. Mahrez questionable, Sanchez questionable. There's a lot to hate in this team, but I love that he's playing from the heart, supporting Arsenal and picking a bunch of random lads who he obviously likes and sticking them all around his team. And he's not set up too bad for Game Week 2. I've plugged his team into the My Team tool on Fantasy Football Hub, and he's predicted to score almost 65 points with a Game Week rating of 87%. Again, a lot of money still on that bench. I'm assuming he's going to bench Adams because he didn't feature last week. Rashford has Brentford, but Dunk has Newcastle as well. It's hard to know who he'll rotate in and out, leaving those lads on the bench. Best of luck this week, Mo. You need it. Next up, we have Matt Targett over at Newcastle, and it's a real shame to see him not pick any Newcastle players. There's a few there that were viable. Callum Wilson, St. Maximin, Bruno Guimaraes, even Trippier I thought would have been nailed here. He could have even went for Pope. He's went for no Newcastle players. He's went for Mendy and James, the Chelsea double-up. Zinchenko's in there, which was a great shout that I was absolutely against going into Game Week 1. Again, no Salah, ballsy call. Son captain, okay. But again, he's fallen into that trap of a lot of money on the bench. De Gea is his backup goalkeeper. He has Broja, who comes in at 5.5 million on the bench. And Scamacca with a big price tag of 7 million on his bench. Again, I can't help but feel it's a lot of wasted capital and a pretty unoptimised team. 54 points, lower than average. Doesn't surprise me in the slightest, Matt. But I do love your team name, Target Practice. I see what you did there. Looking ahead at Game Week 2 is a 77% Game Week rating, which isn't great to be honest. His team rating, which looks up to 5 weeks in advance, is only 89% as well. But he's not actually looking that good mid-term either. 57.7 predicted points. Again, a lot of wasted cash on that bench. I don't like it, but I respect how different it is. To be honest, if I was him, I would take 58 points this week. And to be frank, the two teams we've looked at so far, I probably would wildcard this week. They're that bad. That's number 10 and number 9 out of the way. Who's number 8? Next up, 3 off the TFC, and it's James Maddison, who obviously likes his golf. You can see he's obviously aware of the goalkeeper situation at Leicester going into Game Week 1. He picked Ward and Iverson. Smart choice, 8 million spent in goal. And to be honest with you, in his starting 11, the only unorthodox pick here is James Justin. So he stands true to Leicester, and I highly respect that. A ballsy choice, but it does surprise me he didn't pick himself. He's probably the best Leicester FPL asset, and I always thought he kind of fancied himself. So it surprises me that he didn't pick himself instead of the likes of Luis Diaz or Saka, who were the same price. The only other slightly weird choice is Surridge on the bench at 5 million. He could have went for a Greenwood or an Archer, pocketed the 0.5 million and upgraded across that team somewhere, but he didn't. So Surridge and Justin the only wild card picks here, but lovely to see that, his use of the Leicester goalkeeper situation. I think it's great to see that. And if we have a look at how he's set for Game Week 2, a Game Week rating of 79%, a team rating of 93, which is pretty decent looking ahead up to 5 weeks in advance. I'm imagining he's going to captain Salah unless he pivots to Haaland, which I would probably do if I was him, or I would have done a couple of days ago. Then he might captain Haaland instead. Based off predicted points, he should probably start Nico Williams or even Andreas over James Justin, but I wonder will he stray away from sticking by his teammate. I have a feeling he'll play Justin. All in all, not a lot wrong with this team. Fair play matters. You seem to know your FPL. I think you were just a bit unlucky in Game Week 1. This is new content for the channel. If you enjoy it, let us know. We need to find out what you are into. Hit a thumbs up below if you're into it. 500 of them will keep this series going and pick out the 10 best Premier League players each week and see how they're getting on over the season. Next up, MC Hammer, and it's Hamza Choudhury. I think he's went for now play on Hamza for the MC Hammer. And 59 points is above average, so a respectable score, no doubt. He got caught with the cash trap. He has got Watkins in there, which is a little bit left field. Edward on the bench. Forster wasn't optimal considering Ward exists. Tomiyasu with the yellow flag didn't play. And Tariq Lamptey, the other defender on the bench. I can't help but feel one of those should have been a 4 million defender. Probably Tomiyasu should have been a Nico Williams or something like that. But what's lovely to see from Hamza here is that he backs his teammate Maddison more than Maddison backed himself. Maddison managed the assist on opening day and came in with 5 points, so lovely to see a return on the board that early. The captaincy of Salah was a wise choice. Whenever you've got Salah and Sterling in a team like this, it was always going to be hard. Cash was always going to be tight, excuse the pun, to get in Kane or Haaland, but I do think one of them is pivotal, and at the minute Erling Haaland is going to absolutely destroy you if you don't have him. So I respect the hustle, I respect picking Raheem, but I do think it's a mistake. I think that Raheem Sterling should be a more budget midfielder and Watkins should probably be Erling Haaland. Just a 73% game week rating, 54.5 predicted points. I think that could be the lowest we've seen yet. A team rating of 84% means it's not even looking that good over the next 5 game weeks. He truly has thrown caution to the wind and probably just built with his heart more than his head here. And if this was actually my current team, I'd probably wildcard out of it, albeit it's just 1 game week in. I would never be in this position, but if it was, get out of it. I don't like the build of this team one bit, to be honest with you. Shane Duffy comes up next in 6th place, and the only teammate he's picked is Andreas, who is a very, very obvious kind of 4.5 million mid that everyone went for. It looks like he's done a bit of his research, you know, going in from pre-season. He had Perisic there, you know, Pope. I didn't waste money on the bench like we've seen with some of them with the second goalkeeper. Lucas Dean, not a bad pick. He's went to Bruyne, Foden and Haaland. There's no Salah in sight. Callum Wilson, also a bit of an out there pick. Botman, a proper left field pick. This team is a very differential team. I really rate the decision to go De Bruyne over Salah. He obviously rates Newcastle with the Pope, Botman and Wilson triple up. Tripling up on Newcastle and just using one Liverpool player is proper against the grain. No sign of Trent, one of the few teams that's the case for. No sign of Salah, no sign of Robbo. I think this team did alright in game week 1, but I don't really like it going into game week 2, 3, 4, 5 and further afield, to be honest. I think looking ahead to game week 2, he's going to be forced to play Nico Williams because Botman and Perisic managed very, very few minutes each, less than 10 apiece. I think the safest play for game week 2 for Big Duffy is to go with Nico Williams. You know, Perisic managed just 25 minutes in game week 1. What's not to say he gets something similar again and bags a 1-pointer. Botman, you know, he only featured for 1 minute. I doubt he gets the 90. Nico probably the safest route to 2 points. West Ham didn't score against City. Maybe they won't score against Forest. So Nico probably a guaranteed 1-2 pointer with the upside of a 6. Whereas the likes of Perisic, Botman, I think, you know, you're probably guaranteeing yourself a 1-pointer. Now you might argue that Perisic could do better if the fixture was better, but Chelsea is a hard game. I think you bench Andreas as well. So this team would come out with a game week rating of 87%, team rating of 86, predicted points of almost 65 for next game week. I think he would take that right now if he was offered it. I have slapped captaincy on De Bruyne, that's just because I like him, but to be honest with you, Haaland's probably more optimal. But there's so little in it that it doesn't really matter. I flipped it over there, all the change was predicted points went up by 0.2. If you want to see how your team's set up for game week 2 and further beyond, head over to the My Team tool on Fantasy Football Hub. The link is in the description. Click that link, you can use the tool for free, see what you think for next week, let us know how many predicted points you're due to get. And if you do decide to sign up, you'll get 50% off if you use the link that is in the description. On to our top 5, and it's James Justin with Just in Time. 66 points, 9 points above average, a very solid game week. That guy's bench is the most template bench of the benches I've ever benched. Iverson, Nico Williams, Andreas and Archer, that is pure template. Haaland, Jesus, Salah, pure template. Bailey, template. Saka, Luis Diaz, fair enough. Cancelo, Trent, Ward, template. James, template. This guy plays FPL. I'm telling you now, this guy has played FPL. James Justin picking himself. You love to see it. Surprisingly, the first player we've seen pick himself, and I love it. The confidence. He's backing himself to do well. Albeit with Arsenal, Chelsea and United in 3 of the next 4 fixtures, I wouldn't be backing him myself or his keeper Ward to keep many clean sheets. But 66 points off to a flyer. Let's see how he's set for next week. So for game week 2, Justin Time is actually in pretty good shape. The sad thing about this team is that he comes in with 2.5 predicted points versus Arsenal, which is the worst of the team. It's the worst of all the starting players, and even worse than Nico Williams or Andreas on the bench. So James, if you're watching, I'd advise you bench yourself this week. I don't know if you have the stomach to do that, but Gabriel Jesus is probably going to rip you a new one. And ultimately, you're in a catch-22. You have 2 Arsenal attackers here up against a Leicester defender and a Leicester goalkeeper. You're not going to score too well this week, bar a miracle. Game week rating of 88%. Is generous. 94% team rating means, again, with how template your team is, you're looking okay over the next 5 game weeks. 66 predicted points. If this team gets 66 points, I'll eat my hat. Into 4th place, and this is the team that's supposedly Bukayo Saka, who has picked himself, but something curious is going on here. His name on FPL is James St. Patrick, aka Ghost Out of Power. It's a TV series where it's this really handsome guy who's just kind of like a badass drug dealer. Do your own research on that one. But he's called himself James St. Patrick, so maybe he fancies himself a bit as a handsome gangster man. His team name is Sheo, and basically his team is actually in pretty good order. I really like it. You know, Mendy and Ward, fair picks. I like the choices. Reece James, Gabriel out there, but he did well in game week 1, and the underlying stats were good. Johnny, one who's been spoke about in the community, and Perisic. Mo Salah in midfield, captain, good choice. I like that he had the awareness not to captain himself there. Kane and Haaland. The big man's gone freemium with his mate Gabriel Jesus up top. Bailey is there, and this is actually about as optimal and as nice as a freemium draft as you'll get. Nico Williams, Andreas and De Silva, some great picks with De Silva getting the goal in game week 1. I'll be honest, it looks very light at the back without the likes of Trent, Robbo and Cancelo, but he's managed to get himself, Salah, Kane, Haaland and Jesus in here, so I think he's done a good job along with keeping James and Mendy at Chelsea. 72 points in game week 1, really respectable start, 15 points above average. Let's see how he's set for next week. 60.5 predicted points, game week rating of 81, but he looks a little bit better medium term with an 89% team rating. I've captained Haaland for him. I wonder will he do that or will he go for Salah? All in all, his team looks in decent shape and I don't think he needs to panic just yet. But whenever you are freemium with Kane, Haaland and Salah, always going to be light enough at the back. Perisic against Chelsea doesn't look too fun. To be honest, I'd probably play Nico Williams or Andreas instead. Probably Andreas personally. He looked good in game week 1. Gabriel against Leicester's okay. And Johnny up against Fulham isn't the end of the world either. So all in all, decent effort, Mr. St. Patrick. Time for the podium top 3, and Saka's teammate Eddie Nketiah came in with 74 points, the same as myself, the same game week rank. And there's a lot to like in this team, but a lot to rant about. First off, the wasted cash on the bench. Edward coming in at 5.5. You know, that's $1 million that probably could have been saved. Travers as well is a 0.5 that could have been saved, but I understand maybe he wanted the depth. Trent James, Gabriel Mendy, solid at the back. He has went Salah and he's went for Son instead of Haaland or Kane, which is ballsy. Ivan Toney sort of pulled it out for him in game week 1. Jesus let him down. Martinelli there. Willock a ballsy call. But what I love here is that him and Willock are known to be good friends, and he's went and picked his mate here even though he's by no means optimal in the game. So to go and pick Willock is a real sign of respect to his friend. And he still has the awareness not to pick himself, obviously not top of the pecking order. He tripled up on his own team. There's a lot to like in this team. 74 points. Outrageously good start, Eddie. Well done. Looking at game week 2 though, he's only predicted to get 56.4 points, which is a game week rating of 76%, so not great. 90% team rating. I've opted to play Willock for him instead of maybe Walker, Peters, Williams or Edward. You probably wouldn't play Edward against Liverpool, even though Liverpool conceded 2 in the opening game week. Willock's his mate. He's going to play him. He'll captain Salah. Maybe he could captain Jesus, but I mean, if he's feeling loyal to the club. I think if I was him, I'd maybe be moving Zaha on, getting rid of him. You know, the Liverpool fixture and Man City fixture are not great. But outside that, there is a lot to like in this team, albeit it is risky not having Haaland at this stage. In second place, we have Adam Forshaw, the Leeds United player. Team name South 11, God knows what that means. And this team is absolutely mad. Alisson in goal, no sign of Trent or Robbo. He's went for Dan Burn, St. Maximin. He's got Coutinho in there, Mbuemo in there, Milojevic on the bench. I like the Ward pick, at least he's aware enough of the game to pick him as his 4 million backup goalkeeper. He's went 3-man with Kane, Haaland and Salah. By God, as he went differentials. Zinchenko pulled him out of a hole with that 12-pointer. 74 points, drawn with me and Steady Eddie. I honestly do not like this team one bit, but somehow it got the job done. I'd be interested to see how it's going to look going ahead. He's actually not set up too badly. Predicted to score about 60 points, 80% game week rating, 90% team rating, looking a little further ahead. And the biggest thing here to point out is that he doesn't have Gabriel Jesus, who's the most owned player in the game. If Jesus does anything, he will be in trouble. So it's absolutely ballsy going without him, but he does have Kane, Haaland and Salah. Again, another footballer that we've seen go threemium. Milijevic is an absolute left field pick. He's not at all the optimal 4.5 mil. Liverpool and Man City there, as I mentioned with Zaha in the last team. But we're not going to sweat it. Ultimately, he's a bench player, but still not ideal. Rashford, Coutinho, St. Maximin, Dunk, all differentials. Mbeumo in differential. Outside Alisson, James, Salah, Haaland and Kane. This team's pretty rogue, so best of luck going into the season, Adam. Time for our winner of the day. And it's chicken taking Mo Salah. It is Kalvin Phillips at Man City. He captained his teammate Erling Haaland. He got a few minutes in that game himself. He fancied Super Jack Grealish with those calf muscles. Unfortunately, he let him down and let me down. 77 points, a great total. Mo Salah in there. Zinchenko did the business. He's Martinez and Ortega, the backup City keeper. That's a weird one now. The fact he is Ortega, he's blocking that third Man City slot from himself. And Ederson, I can't see him being benched. Maybe Calvin can. Mbeumo and Struijk a bit different on the bench. Matt Targett in here. Targett didn't even pick himself, but Calvin's picked him. He's went for the Arsenal triple up. He's tripled up on Villa, who let down in the opening game week. And he's only got 2 City. It's a very strange one. I would have fancied him to have the likes of a Cancelo in there, even a De Bruyne. Really back City, but no, he's went Salah over De Bruyne when he had the option, which shows he's playing FPL. He's not playing friendships. 77 points, really top start. Let's see how he looks for game week 2. And another thing to point out is he's actually threemium, Son, Salah and Haaland, so he's built a pretty decent team for game week 1 considering. I think he might struggle medium term, to be honest with you, but yeah, no, he got away with it game week 1 with Target 8 points and Zinchenko 12. They really pulled him out of the hole. If we look ahead to game week 2, predicted to get 62.6 points, which is decent. Game week rating 84, team rating 87. Not looking amazing looking ahead. I think he played Target with the Brighton fixture and, to repay him for the 8-pointer in game week 1. But Mbeumo is predicted to score more points. Man United not looking amazing at the back. That doesn't surprise me. Be interesting to see who he starts. It'd be interesting to see who he captains. I reckon he'll go for his teammate Erling Haaland again. He hasn't let him down yet. But Kalvin Phillips, top of the table, sets us off to a flyer. So that's our table after game week 1. If you enjoyed this video, if we get 500 likes below, we'll do this every single week. So from number 10 up, we had Elneny, then Targett, James Maddison, Choudhury, Duffy, Justin, Saka, Nketiah, Forshaw and Kalvin Phillips. The top 8 all chose either Salah or Haaland as captain. Target in 9th went for Son, and Elneny stayed loyal to Gabriel Jesus in 10th. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget, 50% off at Hub at the minute, and you can get your team checked out for free with the link in the description. Bye bye.